Welcome back to my studio. I'm Chris Wilcock, and in the last episode, we finished up Bench in the Forest in a 6-part series of me painting a small oil painting. That was finished up in the last episode, so please check that out if you haven't already done so. In this episode, as promised in the last part of that series, I indicated that I would be taking you through the process of what I do to create a painting. So what I'm talking about is how do I go about choosing what to paint and what subject to paint next. So I don't have a painting that's new on the start here yet. What I need to do is sort of gather some information about what I want to paint next, and I'm going to take you through that process a little bit and take you through some of my thinking. What I usually do is I usually start looking through a series of photographs that I have to see if there's anything in particular that interests me that I want to paint. And of course, I've got lots of photographs that I've taken over the years that would be wonderful to paint. But what I really find, and that's probably what I want to talk about here the most today, is what I find is in order to paint something, it's the same as when I observe others' paintings. If I were to go to a gallery and wander through the gallery, I stop and I focus and I look at the paintings that evoke an emotion in me. It doesn't really matter what the subject matter is. Of course, it helps to have the subject matter something that particularly that you're interested in, that you like. But really, and technique is part of that too. What technique did they use? How does it look? But I think for most people, the biggest part of that is what emotion do you have when you look at that painting? So if you stop and look at any given painting, does it make you have a certain way of feeling? Does it make you feel sad? Does it make you feel happy? Does it bring back a memory that you perhaps had? So that's what I'm talking about when I want to be invested in a painting for a period of time. I want it to invoke an emotion. So I don't want to sit and paint something for 4, 5, 6 hours that I don't really feel connected to, that I don't feel a strong emotion to. Though, of course, some people do paint things that are more of their interests and maybe don't evoke an emotion. So I can only speak for myself. So when I paint, I'm looking to be connected to that painting in such a way that I want to be involved in it, that I want to put part of myself in that painting. I know that sounds a little corny, but I think that's true. I want to become part of the painting. And the same as when I look at a painting, I really want to feel that connection. So let's say, for example, the last painting I painted, Bench in the Forest, that was a photograph I had taken of a parkland not too far from me. And as I walked on that sunny, bright day through the forest, I came across that park bench. That park bench gave me a real sense of connection. It really gave me a feeling of, happiness. It gave me a sense of peace. It helped me to sort of, get to a place that was serene to me, right? So here was a bench under the trees, warm day, very quiet, peaceful. And if you stopped and looked at that bench, or you sat on the bench, I guess, you were surrounded by warmth, by peacefulness, by quiet, by listening to the birds, the slight wind in the trees. It gave me a real sense of comfort, a real sense of peace. And so that's what I saw when I took the picture that day of Bench in the Forest. And when I painted it, I much relived that feeling. I brought back that feeling of peace, of serenity, and I enjoyed that painting. And I really wanted to put a little bit of myself into that painting to bring out that emotion. So I hope when others look at that painting, they sort of get that sense. They realize that it's a serene, peaceful, quiet scene, and hopefully I've really brought that forward in the painting. And I think that only comes about when we are truly emotionally connected to a painting. Now you might say, well, it's just a bench in a forest. There's not a lot of emotion there. But to a lot of people, when they see things like that, maybe they see a painting in a gallery, of a beach, of crashing waves, sunshine, whatever it is they're looking at. And maybe it brings them back to a time in their childhood or an earlier time when they got a sense of peace or some kind of connection to a loved one or something from that painting. And I think that's how paintings really speak to us. And that's one of the reasons I think a lot of people like to look at paintings, enjoy paintings, or even in my case and others, actually painting them. So I think it's really important to have that connection. And that's what I look for when I'm looking for a painting. So I don't just want to thumb through a book, a catalog, see something and say, I'm going to paint that. I want to have some kind of connection emotionally to it, right? So I want to put part of myself into it, like I said, to really feel that emotional connection. So now in my next painting, as I go about painting, I want to do the same thing. I don't just want to pull up any painting or picture, any picture and paint it. So what I tend to do is now I'm ready to paint another painting. I go through a series of photographs that maybe I have, like I said, or I look in some of the stock photos out there that you can buy. I have a couple of memberships to stock photo clubs where you can download photos with no licensing concerns. You paid for them, obviously, and you can paint those, which I do. I take a look through those, and if I see anything that really means something to me or really creates a connection for me, then maybe I paint that. But in this case, as I've looked through those paintings just in the last couple of days, and I've looked through my own paintings, I haven't seen that. So really what I want to do is, right now it's the winter time, I want to paint something that has some emotion with the winter time, maybe a little bit of snow. I want tall shadows in it. So I'm looking to sort of head out and take some photographs in the forests or nearby areas where I can see what I'm talking about, right? So over the next little while, I'm going to take a walk, and I'm going to take my camera with me and take a look around, and I'll take you guys with me and maybe wander through the forests and see if I see anything that makes me want to paint it. So come along for the journey. I'm going to be painting a new painting, fairly small painting. I'll stick to this size here. I think this is about a 12 by 16 in this particular case. A little smaller than the last painting I did, but that's the canvas I have today, so that's what I'm going to paint. So of course I could change it up if I find something that I really want to paint that's, you know, a little bit bigger or even a little bit smaller. I have a number of blank canvases here in the studio, and certainly can use those. So join me as I go through a journey of trying to figure out what to paint next. It will be a landscape. It will be, like I said, probably going to be a slight wintry scene. It's a bit gray here today. I'm hoping it's sunnier tomorrow so I can get some shadows. I want to have that real, sense of depth, right? So I like to have shadows, shade. I like to have some shade cast from the trees. But we'll see what we find out there. A little bit of snow, and hopefully, like I said, when the snow hits, maybe we get a little bit of that blue in the snow, a little bit of the sky bouncing back on us. So we'll take a look. So join me as we work on what I'm going to do for the next painting. Thanks for being here with me, and I'll see you shortly outside as we go wandering, looking for some images that I can paint. I'm out today, like I said yesterday in the video, to see if I can get some images of something to paint. So here's some footage near my home. Not sure this is what I really want to paint. It's a nice sunny day, but I think we'll keep looking. So as you can see by the video, I went out to various places to look and get some video. I was hoping to have a little bit more snow than we had. It had almost completely melted away by the time I went out. I went to a few places fairly local to me, shot some video, and upon returning home, I went through the video. I took some photographs when I was out as well. And then what I do is I go through that video, pretty much the video that you saw, and I look for images that are something I want to paint. And remember I said that I really want to find something that really speaks to me, invokes an emotion, and makes me feel a certain feeling, right? And that feeling could be a sadness, it could be a happiness, it could be a memory, it could be all kinds of things that make you want to paint it. And honestly, at the time of painting it or acquiring the photographs, you may not even know what it is that you feel or what that painting says to you, or when it speaks to you, what is it actually saying? You may not know at the time. So that's fine. I went out and I took some images, I took some video, and then I replayed the video and looked at the images. And I looked for something that really, like I said, that speaks to me, that invokes that emotion. And so as I went through, you'll see that I've shown the video, and then I've grabbed some shots of things that I was interested in. And just a few minutes ago on the video, you would have seen some photographs that I had taken from that video and from that session. And I put them into Photoshop. I put one particular image into Photoshop, and you can see it in the video. I did a little bit of cropping of it. I did a little bit of enhancement of it. And then I actually, once I was happy with that image, I made a black and white of that. And the reason I make the black and white is for value, right? So when I'm painting, I can get a sense of value much better from a black and white image if I can occasionally look at that black and white image. I don't always do this, but I did decide to do it for this video. So, that's interesting. And the color image that I did enhance it a little bit, and I deliberately made it a little bit more vibrant, brought out some richness in the colors. That's because when I paint, I want it to be fairly vibrant. I may tone the colors down as I actually paint. Hard to say. We'll see what happens when I get going. So thanks for joining me on that journey. What I'll do now with that image is, and I'll post that image that I'm going to use, the actual one that I'm going to use right at the end of this video, just in case you missed it in the body of the video. The next step for me now is to take that image and put it onto a canvas. Maybe slight modification there. I might feel the need to move it slightly, but probably not, because I already moved it when I cropped it. So I will draw that image out onto a canvas, and once that's done, I will film another episode as I begin to paint that. So hopefully you've enjoyed this, and hopefully I've given you a bit of a sense of the journey I go through in order to find an image to paint. It's not always like this. Sometimes I can just see an image online. I could go through a book and find something that interests me, that triggers an idea. But in this case, I wanted to take you through a process that I have used before, and I certainly will use again, to really create something I want to paint. Now, you might look at that and say, well, that's a very simple image that he's chosen. It's basically a very bizarre sort of crookedy tree near the ocean, not far from me. And it just sort of gave me a sense, again, of peacefulness, right? So it's an unusual looking tree, slightly different. It's not your average tree. So I saw some color in it and some depth in the bark that made me sort of think about it and want to paint it. So going to give that a try. So join me in the next episode. That's what we'll be doing. I'll have sketched it out onto a canvas by that time, and I'll have it up here. And then I'll take you through the process of actually blocking that in and then painting it and building some detail in it. So again, I hope you've enjoyed this episode while I've been hunting for an image to actually paint. It's been great doing this. Appreciate it, guys. If you like this kind of video, you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. It really means a lot to know others out there are enjoying the content and actually getting something from it. I would love to get some comments from you guys. Let me know what you think about it. It's wonderful to read some of the comments. As you know, I'm a new channel starting to build, but I'm really enjoying this process. And I'll be very honest, it's great to have subscribers, and I really do want to build the channel and have lots of followers. But I'm really doing this for myself. It's something that I feel really obligated to myself to document some of my artwork, document some of my processes. And if you can join me along that journey, so much better. That's fantastic. So I really thank you for being here again. So until the next episode, when we'll actually get started painting on that tree, then of course we'll have to come up with a name for it. So, or I'll have to come up with a name for it. So we'll figure out what that is, and I'll get started in the next episode. Until then, thanks for joining me, guys.